What was your most embarrassing trip to the doctor? Found a small lump on the left testicle. I went to see the urologist, and when the nurse brought me to the room, inside there was a doctor with around 20 students. Doctor told me to lie down on bed and take my pants and underwear off, and not to worry about students, how they will be doctors one day as well. He put the gloves on, and proceeded with the exam, trying to find the lump by moving his fingers around my left testicle. After he finally found it, he called the first student, and told him to look for the lump. Every single person in that room was touching my balls. That was weird as F. I had a cyst on my upper butt crack for the better part of a month. One lovely Saturday morning it's gotten so large and swollen that I couldn't even walk or sit down without crying in pain. I'm the first person to the urgent care that morning and find myself laying sideways on a table with a lovely doctor using a scalpel to force an eruption of the volcano that had formed between my cheeks. It was instant relief and used probably 20 pieces of gauze to clean up. I'd say that one. Even worse than getting my balls ultrasound. Went to the ER for stomach pains, worried about appendix, spleen, gallbladder, etc. I was constipated. My brother still tells the joke that the one time I went to the doctor I was full of hemorrhoids by far. I know women go through way worse at the gyno and I don't know what I expected, but I was not prepared to lay on my side in the fetal position while the doctor opened my ass cheeks like he was about to read a book. When I had to show my naked butt to the doctor in the hospital and she spread my butt cheeks to look inside, and then a dozen student doctors, interns, came in the room and were all staring at my butt for what felt like hours. Cut the flap of skin that connects my sack to the shaft of my peanuts with hair clippers. Not only was it a day that they were training new doctors, but also my mom worked for the hospital and saw my name on the computer system. So by the end of the visit, I had 5 extra young doctors staring while I got stitches, but also my mom walked into thinking something bad happened to me. I had a ton of pain in my balls, and read too many TIFU by getting testicular torsion posts on here and a recent coworker who was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I went in to get the pain checked out. Wouldn't go away. Kept me up at night. Just really freaked me out and hurt. After much inspection and touching, the doc asked about what kind of underwear I wear and I said boxers. He said he recommends getting boxer briefs as I have saggy balls and have most likely torn a ligament or muscle. I immediately bought some boxer briefs and sure enough by within a little over a month the pain had subsided. I paid $250 for the doc to tell me I have saggy balls and get new underwear. I had a CAT scan for a kidney stone, since that's all they were looking for in the notes. It said peanuts. Unremarkable. I know it's not much, but damn. I was pretty young, had never swallowed a pill before. My only experience with anything pill-like was Flintstone vitamins. I was in there with my mom and was given a Tylenol and a cup of water, and I guess no one imagined I had never taken a pill before. So I immediately popped it in my mouth and vigorously chewed, and then immediately threw up from the bitter taste. My reaction was surprise and confusion. Doctor was just like, "You just swallow them, with the water," like I was some damn idiot. I was about 15 and at the doctor's laying on that short table waiting for the doctor. I couldn't figure out why the dumb table was so short and tried to figure out a way to make it longer. Well, I realized at the end of the table there were these fancy leg extensions. So I pulled them out and waited. Doctor came in and started laughing hysterically and asked me what kind of exam I wanted. I didn't realize what I had done until 20 years later. I went to the doctor's with my wife. Kind of a delayed embarrassment. Woke up one day with severe pain in my lower right abdomen. I was aware this was a possible indication of appendicitis, so I'm worried. Got to the walk-in clinic where they ran some tests and an x-ray. After a while the doctor comes in and simply says, "You're full of shoot," and laughed. I said, "Excuse me?" Come to find out I was severely constipated. They prescribed a laxative and a few hours later I was feeling a lot better. I had blood in my urine once. Went to the doctor and we figured out that I had popped a small blood vessel in my genital area from jerking off too hard too often. Doctor, are you sexually active? Me? Not currently. Doctor, fapping? Me? A lot. To make things worse, there was some college dude shadowing the doctor that day. Skin on my balls had the texture of dried cooked chicken skin and was flaky. Was informed I didn't have ball cancer, but I was fapping too much. I have a couple, but you can get a pimple on your dong, on the head, especially if you wrestle, and it's summer, and the gym doesn't have a shower, and you have to walk half an hour home. I had it examined by the head pimple dong urologist and it was without a doubt 100% a pimple. Scariest few days of my life. Went and got diagnosed with an STD and was getting lectured about safe sex and cheating and then felt too embarrassed to tell the doctor my wife had actually given it to me. I was getting ready to go to a BBQ pool party, changed into my swimsuit, put clothes over it and I was doing chores before I left home. My face started feeling numb and I was getting a headache. Called the advice nurse. She told me to call for an ambulance. Paramedics come, transport me to hospital. Check into the ER. They do an exam, CT scan, and labs. They find nothing and decide to discharge me to follow up with my regular doctor. While waiting for discharge paperwork, I'm sitting on a hospital bed in the hall. My neck is really aching from my halter top swimsuit holding my booze up, so I pull the strap over my head to relieve the pressure. And then it hits me. I'm fairly large-chested and my halter top swimsuit was pinching a nerve in my neck and causing all the symptoms. I was too embarrassed to tell the doctor or nurses. Anal abscess. Went in to have it lanced, and the nurse was super hot. She was the one who ended up holding my butt cheeks open so the doctor could drain this massive disgusting cyst. A couple of days after my vasectomy, my balls swelled up like tangerines. The whole area, scrotum to be whole, turned purple-black. I had to go to the emergency room and show it to the triage nurse, then every nurse that came to check on me while I waited, then 2 doctors, then what seemed like every nurse that happened to walk by my bed for the next couple of hours. Bilateral hydroceles, which is to say that my scrotum was filling with fluid and was swollen to the size of maybe a volleyball. Doctor, a youngish guy, sits there staring at it with his jaw hanging open while his brain goes back to the day in med school when they taught them to never act shocked in front of a patient. Eventually, he remembers how to talk, and his first words are, "Can I get a picture of that?" Runner-up was when I went in to have it drained and lifted. Him and his assisting were trying hard to keep straight faces. I think the anesthesia can as a big relief to everyone. And, in case you're wondering, they pulled 2 liters of fluid out of my ball sack that day. Not my story, but my mother's. When she was pregnant with me, she had some pain and itching in her genital area. She went to her gynecologist, whom, she says, was a man with a rather odd sense of humor. She gets into the stirrups and Doc gets in between her legs and says, "Oh, cottage cheese. Yum." Mum had a yeast infection. She found a different doctor, too. I burnt in the doctor's face during a strep test. I felt so bad lol. I was 5 years old, not too bright, and thought air freshener was air freshener. So I plugged the end of a Febreze into my ear and let loose. I actually made it to the 2nd year before I realized I fricked up. Burning pain, damaged my eardrums from the pressure, bad everything for me. How could this day get any worse? Make it to the ER and my father is freaking out thinking I've gone deaf and he's demanding why nobody was helping us and staring at the TVs. It was September 11, 2001, and I thought I was having a bad day. I was like 9 and my mom had some brownish lipstick. Well, as a prank I put it on my underwear and walked around the house with my pants sagging. Forgot about it and that night I got up to go pee and when I went to lay back down the spring popped out of the bed and caught my side really bad. I get to the hospital and remember about the underwear after they asked me to change into my gown. I didn't want to have my bare ass sticking out from the gown so I kept the underwear. After they stapled me up, they asked my mom to leave and they asked me again what happened. Guess they seen my fake poo-stained undies with blood on it and was like, "What's going on in that house?" My mom was pissed, but we laugh about it now. The doctor asking me my name, date of birth and then Askreddit, as in male or female is what he meant, but at the time I was a little kid so I got nervous, felt awkward, immediately turned to look at my mom and quickly said, "No, I'm too little." all worried and shoot thinking I was gonna get in trouble, and they both just laughed at me, haha. Valentine's Day, 2019. I pooped blood in the morning and made an emergency appointment. My doctor is a 60-something-year-old woman, and she says to me, "Realize you can't tell me something like that without me having to take a closer look." I'm lying sideways on the bed with my knees tucked up and my pants pulled down. She applies ice-cold lubricant and starts to insert a finger into my ass, and I make the awkward remark, "You haven't even taken me out to dinner yet." Dead silence. Nothing wrong as far as I can see. She tells me, "Have you eaten anything like beetroot recently?" I immediately remember the beetroot juice smoothie I had drunk the day before, but I'm too embarrassed to admit to it. So I lie. Worst Valentine's Day ever. I was in another country and got chlamydia while there. I pretended to be my friend so I wouldn't have to pay a fee to see them. My friend was married. They tried to call her husband to inform him his wife had an STD, and I told an elaborate lie about him knowing I had sex with someone. Because he likes to watch and not partake, so we weren't timid and couldn't have gotten it too, so they wouldn't have to call him. I don't know what the frick I was thinking, but the look on the 75-year-old doctor's face was hilariously horrified. I had to have surgery to remove growths from my O-ring. My boyfriend knew. He was the one to drive me to surgery. While waiting for the surgery, 3 separate times people came in, asking me to say in my own words why I was there. I had to say out loud 3 freaking times, "I am here to have growths removed from my arsehole." My boyfriend sat right next to me through this. He really is the best man. If I had known that was going to happen, I wouldn't have had him in the pre-op with me. I still feel like I was pranked to this day.